Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show, brought to you by Salvatore's Pizza. Our next set of guests on the specialties hotline, and we call it a full house backfield, and we needed to get all these guys in here because what a victory. Our game of the week, Pittsford Pub game of the week, 34-31. It's Penfield football over UPrep in 5 overtimes. Get this, folks, winless against undefeated, and the team with the goose egg in the win column comes out with an amazing victory. Steve Bradley, why don't you introduce these guys for us? And you call this maybe the game of the decade.
Well, so far I don't think you can argue with that. Coach Jay Johnson joins us, along with Jackson Salpaugh, Leo Saladino, and the guy that kicked the winning field goal, Shane McMillan. Start with you, Coach Johnson. 5 overtimes, an amazing game. You had a 14-7 lead late. They scored on a double pass. You had a field goal blocked in the 3rd overtime. But you told me even coming into the game that you were 0-3 and you knew how well UPrep is playing, but you had that 14-7 game with East in week 3. You told your guys you believe they could do it. And, man, how did they come together and do it? It's amazing.
Well, I really feel like we could have, we have an opportunity to win the last 3 games. I told the boys that. I never tell the boys something that I don't believe, myself. But they rallied behind it, had a great week of practice, prepared themselves well. I'm not a big moral victory guy, but, playing East as tight as we did with the opportunities that we had, I think, built confidence in the kids, and I know it built some confidence in the coaches. East and UPrep are a lot alike. So having played them close gave us confidence to play UPrep. And, I think no matter what the coaches do or say, it's all in the horses. And the 3 guys that we have on, along with 31 other guys, they're the ones that deserve the credit. 5 overtime victories, a lot of heart.
So, Leo, I'm going to go right to you. You are one of the leaders of the Birdhouse, and you spend a lot of time cheering for all the other kids in the school, building school spirit. I know you were on the fire truck after hockey won sectionals. But what was it like for you to have the tables turned a little bit and be a part of this win where the whole school was cheering for you and your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that, you think about a lot, senior year, high school sports and whatever, especially in football and the season being dragged out and everything. I think that it was a great feeling to be able to just how the soccer team was doing to us, like you said, running to the fence. We were the ones running to the fence, and the kids were coming to us, and we were all just jumping around, and it was a great feeling. It was a great moment.
That's a great segue and a great setup, because one of these guys got to run to the fence a couple of times. Shane, you were also a member of the soccer team. Soccer is your primary sport, but with this year being what it is, you have the opportunity to play football and be the kicker. 18-yard field goal to win it, and you made a beeline for the fence on the post game. I thought you were going to jump out of the field. What was that like for you? You've scored a lot of goals on that field, but lining that up and booting that, take me through that.
It was awesome. I used to play youth football, and I always dreamed of kicking the winning field goal, but I never thought the chance would come because I'm a soccer player and usually football's in the fall, so I didn't think I would ever be able to have this opportunity. But 5th overtime, I was trying not to think too much about it. I was just saying in my head, it's just another game. It's just like a backyard football game. And I was just trying my best to not think about the circumstance and what could happen. Because I knew how much it's meant for all the seniors and all the players on the football team. So I went out there and I just blank mind and just hit the field goal. Wasn't really thinking at all. Didn't want any bad stuff to pop up in my head. What if I miss? So I was just thinking, I'm going to make this. And I just hit the football.
You were 3 for 3 on PATs, 3 for 4 on field goals. So pretty good night for you.
Yeah.
Who was the first person that said you should play football? Or did you say, I'm playing football?
So I had it in mind, but I wasn't really sure if I was going to for sure do it. So my old youth football coach, his name's Mike Fusilli, really got me into it. He gave me a text and said, you really should give it a try for the last chance you ever could probably step on a football field. So I just put it out there. I told my parents and I just went for it.
You're the holder on that play. It's one of the probably 10 different positions that you play for this team. And we'll ask Coach about that in a minute or two. But you guys did have a field goal blocked in the 3rd overtime. So that, there's Shane talked about blocking out any negative thoughts, but once you got the snap and put it down, what was your view of it and that awesome celebration? It was pretty epic that you guys had.
I was pretty much in shock when it happened. As soon as he went through, I was just really excited for the moment. And I pretty much just sat on the field and watched all my teammates run to the corner. I went over and shook my coach's hands and hugged it out. It was just a really emotional moment, and I was excited for us as a team.
Amazing. You play a whole bunch of positions, right?
Yeah, that is true.
We're going to have Coach run them down in a second, but do you have a favorite position?
Nah, I just do whatever my coach tells me to do.
Coach, there you go.
Answer. That's a good answer.
So tell us, seriously, what does he play?
On offense, he plays A-back. He's one of our tailbacks. There's been conversation around him playing our B-back if need be, just make sure he understands the position. 1 week with some wide receiver issues, we were talking about playing him at wide receiver. He's our backup quarterback. If Young goes down, he returns punts, returns kicks, placeholder, punter. On defense, he primarily plays the middle linebacker, but depending on who we're playing, East and UPrep with athletes, he'll move over and play some safety, move over and play some overhang safety, depending on formation. So he's the jack of all trades. Every team needs a couple of those guys in order to have success, from, all the way down to Little League to the pros. And, Jackson's kind of, turned into that this year's guy of that for sure.
So, Leo, I know that you came to football a little late and kind of fell in love with the sport. And there was some uncertainty about this season, but you lost 40 pounds and really transformed your body, and without a guarantee of this season happening. And I just, wanted to have you talk about why football means so much to you and how much it's motivated you, and what positive changes all this has brought to you.
Yeah, so I think after my first year of football, my junior year, just playing baseball throughout my whole life and never really being a part of a football team, I was always around like the youth games and all my friends were always playing. But when I finally stepped into it, I think you just realize how unique of a sport football really is, in the way that on the field you're really like, you're in a war when you're on the field. You're fighting with your brothers, and it just brings you so close to kids around your school that like you would never get close to. And you see kids in like a different view, and you really get to know what your teammates are about and your coaches, because really the games are only a small portion of what you see. You spend a ton of time with your teammates and coaches outside of that, like the 2.5-hour practices and usually doubles and all that. But I think it really just brings me closer to my friends, and it's just, there's a certain feeling that I get on a football field that I just can't recreate anywhere else in my life.
So, Jay, two things for you. First of all, I know that you want to give a lot of credit to UPrep for the way they played. And I mean, they made a fantastic play to tie the game late. But also, as a phys ed teacher and as a coach who shapes lives, when somebody does something like Leo's done and you see these positive changes, how does that impact you as a coach and as a person who is trying to motivate kids and have them, improve their lives and improve everything around them?
Honestly, when I interviewed for this job 5 years ago, that, guys like Leo, they asked me why I wanted to be the Penfield coach. And my reason was to give these kids a good experience, to change the culture here a little bit so that people felt good about playing Penfield football. So in that aspect, I think in the last 5 years, we've had that. We've had some big moments, 5 overtime win, beating Fairport, a great football school in the Connor Ferris Bowl. Having some of those moments, those big memorable moments, those, having guys like Leo transform his body to play a sport that he never really played before, but now is a big, strong, physically tough kid. And I think football, and this is, I love Shane, even though I don't like kickers. I love Shane. This sport is unique in the fact that it's just different from everything. And I think it just teaches you life lessons that these guys will carry on for the rest of their life.
Jackson, I know you play lacrosse and you're planning to play in college, but in this era of multi-sport athletes and sometimes people frowning upon that, what does football mean to you?
Football is just like Leo said, it's different than any other sport. It's kind of a feeling that I can't really explain. It's way different than lacrosse. All 34 of us are just like brothers. We hang out on weekends. We practice for 2.5 hours, 6-7 days a week. It gives us the opportunity to hang out with kids. We wouldn't really ever do it in any other sport. Like, as you saw in that win, we're one big family, and it was a great opportunity.
Penfield, you did it. It's an amazing game. Congrats to you all. Coach Johnson, congrats on, you're going to be our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week for some of the stuff you just said about giving these kids forever moments. These are things you guys will never forget. There are moments in my high school career I've never forgotten. I never will. You'll never forget what happened this week. Congratulations to y'all for what, no matter what happens the rest of the year, I know you want to win them all. You got a memory you're never going to forget. And that's why we play the games, I think. So thanks for being here, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
Coach Johnson, thanks for being here, Coach.
Thank you for having us.
Penfield Patriots football. We don't say that a lot on the show, but I think it's at least the second time I've had Coach Johnson on. We'll take another break. You're listening to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show, brought to you by Salvatore's Pizza.